Hi. You caught me doing some spring cleaning today. I'm going through all my shoes, trying to decide which ones I can get rid of and which ones I should keep. I have white sandals for summer. They'll come in handy soon. I have fancy sparkly party shoes, golf shoes, and my everyday running shoes. Well, let's be honest, they're really fast walking shoes at best. Anyway, I have a cupboard full of shoes that I have to get back to, but back in Jesus' time, not everybody had shoes. Shoes were for people who had money, and lots of times people went without shoes, particularly the slaves or the people who didn't have a lot. Now, going barefoot can be fun for a while, like at the beach in the summer and you can feel the sand through your toes. That's fun. But I sure wouldn't want to have to walk a long way without shoes on a rocky road or a bumpy or I don't know. I think shoes come in pretty handy. Shoes also figure in today's story, which is about the prodigal son. Years ago in Jesus' time, there was a man who was very wealthy. He had lots of money, and he had a couple of sons, and one of his sons decided that he wanted to leave his father and he wanted to leave his home, so he asked for his inheritance early. So he took it with him instead of waiting around until his father passed away and left it to him. So he went to another town and he thought that he was pretty big stuff. He had lots of money and he was spending it all over the place on lots of different things, and he had a lot of friends because he had a lot of money. But one day he had spent all his money and the money was gone. And funny enough, so were most of those friends. And this poor son had nothing left. He couldn't even afford to feed himself. So he thought, well, I guess I better go home. But he wondered what his reception would be like at home because, after all, he had left his father and his brother and everybody at his house and said, oh, I'm going off on my own with my money. So what would it be like when he came back home? He didn't think that he would be able to be welcomed back like a son. He was pretty sure that he would have to be a slave and earn his keep when he got back home. Anyway, he started off down the road and he walked for quite a long time, many, many miles, and he got close to his home. And his father saw him from far in the distance. And do you know what the father did? He ran and welcomed him, and he hugged the son and said, "Welcome home." And he did something even more impressive. He went and he got a pair of shoes. Probably not exactly like these. But he put the shoes on his son. And that was his way of saying, I've given you shoes. I'm welcoming you back as my son. You don't have to be a slave at our home anymore. And that was pretty impressive. And it teaches us all a lesson about forgiveness and about love. This father forgave his son for thinking he knew better and for taking off with his money and spending it unwisely and doing not so great things. He forgave him completely and welcomed him back to the family. And you know what? Our God is just like that. When we do things that aren't that great, and when sometimes we aren't very proud of the way we act ourselves, our Father in heaven welcomes us home and gives us our shoes and says, I love you and I forgive you and I will always love you. Now that is some pretty good news, isn't it? So this week, when you're off running and playing and doing a little bit of schoolwork, I want you to look at your shoes every now and then, or maybe your slippers or whatever you're running around the house in, and I want you to think every time you look at your pair of shoes, my God forgives me and loves me. I am loved by God. That is pretty cool. You think about that and have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.